Hello gardening friends, it is May and time for our May garden tour, so let's get down to the garden and let's get to it.
Today on Organic Gardening in North Carolina.
Alright, here we go. So I finally got some tomatoes planted in my garden, and they were sort of long and spindly, but I planted them deep so that they'll get roots all along their long spindly stem, and they're pretty tiny. Look at that over there. See how tiny that tomato is?
Yeah.
But we're supposed to get a lot of rain this week, so hopefully they'll take off. But it is sort of late. I don't know if I'm going to get a good crop on them or not. So look at these onions. These are onions that I planted from seed, from winter sowing.
Yeah.
Can you get a close-up of the onions?
I am.
What? From way back there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're starting to take off. I planted these in a while ago. Oh look, something pooped right there. What do you think that was?
Maybe a rabbit. His name's a rabbit in the garden.
Oh no, that looks like a little baby rabbit if it's a rabbit. That's not good. We love rabbits, but we don't like them in our garden. Alright, here's some Ethiopian kale seeds. That's going to seeds from a plant that was there last year. Oh, let's look at the potatoes since we're over here. Look at the potatoes over here.
Well,
These are potatoes. Off through here. There's potatoes. Here's potatoes.
right there.
And I put some mulch over them, but I probably need to put some more mulch on them. Maybe those leaves that I used for winterizing the moringa tree. It looks like my wonderful pomegranate, easy start, didn't make it through the winter very well. So it's starting to sprout out from the roots. But I was really surprised it didn't make it through the winter because it was doing so well last year. But it should come back up from the roots. Look, you see how, well, that doesn't feel all that dead. Maybe it'll still sprout out from there. What, you're done with the tour? Okay, let's go around to the other side here and see if our watermelon grew since we planted them. Oh, they grew a little bit. There's some watermelon. There's another watermelon. There's another watermelon. There's some more potatoes. Right, I planted some tromboncino vine over here, but they're not up yet. They should be sprouting here shortly because it's been so warm. Some garlic. There's a tomato that I did get out a little earlier. It's got some blooms on it. Oh yeah. Here is another tomato that I planted out a lot earlier. It's got blooms also. I believe this is a cherry tomato. I think it might be Johnny's super sweet cherry. Here's some beans that I planted. These are the long Chinese beans. So I planted them heavily because the beans look so small, and because they said I should have soaked them overnight, and I didn't soak them overnight. But you can see they really sprouted out well. I'm gonna have to go through and thin them down. I'm gonna be interested to see. I've never planted them before. I did plant a couple more tomatoes up here as well. I've got 2 cages here that have some planted in. And I planted some peppers in the middle of my in the middle of my onions and garlic, because the onions and garlic will be out of here soon. And then the peppers can take over. I really think that this is Longevity Spinach that made it through the winter here, which was really a big surprise for me because I'll have to look up what zone it is, but I think it needs a really warm zone. So I'm surprised that that made it through the winter, if that's what it is. I didn't cut my fig trees back as much this year And you can see that it does have some figs on it. Some Breva figs. If you look up in there, see there's a couple figs right there. Yeah, there's some big figs. So maybe I'll get some early figs on it this year. But my onions are doing well. Onions, and there's some garlic in here too. Here's some blueberries that I just planted out last fall. Or was it last spring? I don't remember. But they're doing pretty well. My apple tree, I don't know if this got too dry because we were going through a dry spell right now. But there are still some apples on it. Some apples dropped off because of this dry spell. I think that's all that's happening. But it's got quite a bit of dieback on it. So if anyone knows if that's anything more than just dry weather, let me know. It's hard to think that it's got that dry because this tree has been here quite a while. But my other tree over here had a little bit of dieback on it too. Up there, might be hard to see, but it had some dieback there. This is our butterfly garden. It's got some pretty flowers in here. Most of these are things that I planted years ago. And then we have some milkweed. Those are milkweed blooms. That is planted for the monarch butterflies. They like this to lay their eggs on. So that's over 6 feet. Those milkweeds are doing really incredible. Right, here's some more peppers that I planted. These are more hot peppers in this area. You can see I have some blooms there. Maybe you can see if it focuses. There we go. Alright, and here's some more tomatoes I have to get in the ground. Peppers that I winter sowed. Some basil that I winter sowed. Here's a tomato. I think that is a Everglades tomato. That's doing super well. I planted that in the ground pretty early as well. Here is another Everglades tomato that I planted a while ago. Here are my carrots. There's a lot of different types of carrots in there. I love some spinach. A little tiny row of spinach here. Here's a tomato that I don't think I planted. I think that's a volunteer. Eat some of this spinach while we're here. All right, the raspberries are starting to come. That is delicious. I think they're looking forward to having some rain this week too. I love raspberries. You can see our patch is looking pretty thick back there. It's taking over this whole area. Some comfrey. There's a blackberry that I transplanted over here. It's starting to get some blooms on it because it didn't like being transplanted. The whole top of it died. But it looks like it's starting to bounce back now. I planted some onions up here. These are white onions that I planted from seeds that I winter sowed. But it has a lot of this nasty grass weed growing up in it. I don't know what that is, but it is really a nasty weed. It's one of the worst weeds in my garden. You have to keep pulling it all the time or it'll take over the whole area. It's almost hard to see what was the onions and what was the grass in here. Might need to replant because it does look like some of my onions didn't make it here. They probably got too dry as well. There's some though. All right, let's go on the other side here so we can look at our strawberries. Oh yeah, we're getting some strawberries. I put a net over these to keep the birds from eating them. Here's one that wasn't covered. You can see the birds took some bites out of that. Right, so they're just getting started. They're actually pretty late this year. We're having a late start to the season, it seems. That's probably the culprit over there. You see that robin? There it is. Robins are bad for eating strawberries. Yep, it's looking for more. There's some more hidden under this wire. But here's one over here that something ate. But it left me a good bit. I can still eat that. Here's lettuce we've been eating. It's been really delicious. Got carrots here. These are the carrots. I think I might have planted these on one of my short live streams. This is Italian dandelion. It's doing really well. I feed that to the rabbits. Here's some Italian kale. Some broccoli through here that I really got in the ground way too late. Probably when the heat hits it, it's gonna shrivel up, but hopefully not. This is some Ethiopian kale that has a lot of nice leaves on it, and it's tall too. It's like 5 feet tall. Starting to go to seed. That's a pretty bloom, isn't it? Here's a little bed that I put a lot of radishes in, so they're actually big and going to seed. There's some cilantro going to seed. And there's a Deanna fig with some figs on it. Right, I chopped and dropped the leaves that were on this tree, which I don't even know what kind of tree this is. I'm hoping that it helps pollinate my pecan tree though, so we'll see. This is my elderberry. The elderberries are starting to bloom now. There's some blooms. It's getting a lot of bloom clusters on it. Looks like the leaves are wilted a little bit. They're ready for some rain as well. Here's some more lettuce. I haven't eaten off of this lettuce very much. Looks nice and tender though. I think this is some kind of a gourmet lettuce mix, these seeds, because there's some green and then some reds all down through there. That's good. Might take that in so we can have some lettuce. There's a patch of garlic. There was cilantro up here. This is an older one from last year. These are the seeds. The seeds are called coriander, which is a spice. There's some big old onions back in there. They have some seed tops on them as well. Have a bunch of peppermint tea. Hope this wind isn't being too crazy out here. Messing with the microphone. Look at all these blackberries. This is a blackberry bush that's been here for a few years. It's got tons of blackberries on there. Look at all these blackberries. That's amazing. Need to cut some things back so that it gets more light. Okay, oh, here's some basil. Pretty nice basil plant. What is this, rosemary? Pretty sure that's rosemary. Another basil plant. Let's see, here is the persimmon tree. Why am I not seeing persimmons? Looks like a lot of them shriveled up here. See those blooms? They shriveled up and dropped off. That one looks like it might have a fruit that's gonna stay. After that bloom drops off, we'll be able to see it better next month maybe. Oh yeah, there's one that the bloom has dropped off a little bit more. Oh yeah. So there's definitely some persimmons coming. It's hard to see how many at the moment. I'm probably gonna take that strawberry in for camera guy. This is a kiwi that actually had some blooms on it as well. But I'm not seeing any fruit that's set. So, not sure if we're gonna get any kiwis from it this year. I was hopeful there for a while. But I'm not seeing them. There's that pesky robin. The goal of my channel is to give you information to help you become a better gardener. So let me know how I'm doing in the comments below. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And make sure that you like the videos too, because that helps YouTube know that they're videos that are good and they'll send them out to other gardeners then. Alright, I'll leave an end screen to a video that is really taken off for me on carpenter bees. It's got over 5,000 views. It's really taken off. It's a short, so it's less than 1 minute. I'll leave that link up in an end screen, and also a video that YouTube says you will like. Alright, thanks for watching and have a blessed day. See you again real soon.